Hello guys, you are seeing Prime News Australia, where we show you the latest and important news of Australia in the fastest and reliable way. So come, let's start by not delaying. 25 big updates of the Australia, especially for you. Before proceeding in the video, comment by commenting from which state you are watching, and also like video, so that YouTube can reach this video to more people of Australia. Liberal Party leadership spill heats up. Angus Taylor has formally launched a challenge against opposition leader Susan Ley after delivering a spill motion. Multiple shadow frontbenchers, including some Ley supporters, have resigned in a wave of defections to force the ballot. Senior Liberal James Patterson described it as a change or die moment for the party, with the vote scheduled for Friday morning. Internal divisions highlight ongoing struggles post-election losses, potentially reshaping opposition strategy ahead of future polls. More Liberal frontbench resignations amid challenge. Resignations continue to mount as MPs position themselves for the leadership contest between Angus Taylor and Susan Ley. Key figures have quit roles to back the spill, signaling deep factional rifts. Analysts warn this instability could weaken the coalition's ability to hold the government accountable, especially on economic and foreign policy issues, as the party room prepares for a decisive vote. PM Albanese's Closing the Gap speech addresses terror fears. Anthony Albanese condemned white supremacy ideology linked to an alleged Invasion Day terror bombing attempt in his annual address. He announced extra funding for Indigenous health, employment, food security, mental health, and domestic violence programs to aid closing the gap targets. Only 4 of 19 targets are on track, with some regressing, including suicide rates, amid calls for urgent action. Possible El Niño emerging in coming months. Bureau of Meteorology models indicate a 57% chance of El Niño by May, rising sharply later, marking the first in 3 years. This could bring hotter, drier conditions, worsening drought, and extreme heat across Australia in 2026. Past events have caused severe bushfires and water shortages, prompting warnings for farmers, water authorities, and emergency services to prepare early. Severe weather and flooding threats in southeast Queensland. Heavy rain, thunderstorms, and potential flooding are forecast for parts of southeast Queensland after a heatwave. The Bureau of Meteorology warns of rapid changes, with showers cooling temperatures but risking flash floods. Residents in low-lying areas are urged to monitor updates, as similar patterns have caused evacuations and infrastructure damage in recent years. Protests erupt during Israeli President Isaac Herzog's visit. Hundreds protested in Canberra and other cities against Herzog's arrival, with clashes in Sydney and Melbourne. Police managed crowds amid safety concerns, leading to a cancelled synagogue visit in Melbourne. PM Albanese raised the death of Australian aid worker Zomi Frankcom in Gaza during talks, pressing for accountability. Police face criticism over protest handling. Reports of excessive force during anti-Herzog protests include a teenager injured and claims of officers disrupting prayers. A Muslim leader demanded a public apology from NSW police for manhandling worshippers. Video evidence has sparked debates on protest rights versus public order, with calls for independent review. Australian T20 World Cup team updates. Captain Mitchell Marsh was ruled out of the opener against Ireland due to injury concerns, while Nathan Ellis starred with 4-12 in a strong win. Steve Smith was called up as cover. The tournament remains crucial for Australia's cricket resurgence, with fans tracking performances closely amid domestic distractions. Teen Heroes dramatic rescue audio released. 000 call from Australian teen Austin Appleby detailed his 4-kilometer swim to save family members swept out to sea. The heroic effort highlighted quick thinking in emergencies, drawing praise from authorities and inspiring community discussions on water safety training. Speaking to ABC News Breakfast this morning, Wallace says that Ley hasn't been given a proper chance as leader to succeed. Yesterday, other allies said it would be right to allow Ley at least give the budget reply in May as leader. Like Ley told colleagues at Tuesday's party room meeting, Wallace says that disunity is death, and adds that, at a time when the Liberal Party is trying to chase female voters, knifing the first female leader is probably not a great look. Guardian Australia understands Claire Chandler, the Shadow Minister for Science and Cybersecurity, has resigned from her front bench position. The Conservative senator is the first to follow Angus Taylor over to the backbench ahead of a leadership spill. We expect more Taylor allies to resign as well today. Flood risks persist across multiple states. Heavy rainfall has primed grounds for flooding in several regions, including Alice Springs, where rescues occurred and 1 person remains stranded. Emergency services warn of ongoing dangers, urging evacuations where needed as weather systems evolve. Chinese warships approach Australian waters. A flotilla sailed close to Australia's exclusive economic zone, within 10 kilometers at points, raising defense and sovereignty concerns. The incident underscores tensions in Indo-Pacific security, with calls for diplomatic responses. Millionaires advocate for higher taxes on super rich. Prominent Australians have publicly supported increased taxation on the wealthy to address inequality. The push comes amid economic debates on cost of living relief and fair revenue distribution. attention. Australia appoints special envoy for Laos methanol probe. Officials shadow the investigation into backpacker deaths from tainted alcohol. The move ensures Australian interests in justice and consular support for affected families. High Court rules on church duty of care. In a landmark NSW case, the court held the Catholic Church responsible for protecting a child from a pedophile priest. The decision strengthens institutional accountability for historical abuse claims. Search for missing Tasmanian backpacker continues. 5 bones, teeth, and a car key were found in the hunt for Celine Kremer. Authorities persist in remote terrain efforts, highlighting challenges in wilderness disappearances. Barbecues galore enters administration. The retailer faces collapse, threatening up to 500 jobs. Economic pressures on retail sector continue to mount amid cost of living strains. RBA Governor Michelle Bullock defends against gaslighting claims. In Senate estimates, Bullock rejected accusations of misleading on the economy, hitting back at persistent questioning from senators like Matt Canavan. Discussions focused on inflation, rates, and growth outlook. Australian scientists achieve Antarctic ice core milestone. Drilling 400 meters retrieved samples over 13,100 years old from the end of the last ice age for the Million-Year Ice Core project. This advances climate research on ancient environments and future predictions. Secret deal to reopen Bougainville's Panguna mine. The autonomous Bougainville government signed an agreement for the gold/copper mine that sparked a civil war decades ago. Economic benefits are weighed against environmental and social risks. Outrage over sale of Pokies Free Bowling Club. Plans to sell a Queensland club have drawn public anger over losing a community venue without gambling facilities. Debates rage on preserving local assets. Former NSW police officer jailed for arson and bestiality. The ex-officer received a prison sentence, highlighting accountability in law enforcement and broader trust issues. Australian dollar weakens significantly versus yen. Rates hit 1980s levels, impacting trade, tourism, and exports amid global currency shifts. Violent retail crime surges in Victoria. New statistics label it Australia's most dangerous state for retailers, with rising assaults and thefts prompting calls for tougher policing. Queensland LNP faces internal divisions. A rebel MP invoked religious rhetoric to oppose abortion laws, while debates continue on gun control and one nation's influence in state politics. 2 Chinese nationals arrested for alleged spying, charged with foreign interference for covertly gathering info on a Canberra Buddhist group. China denied involvement, escalating diplomatic tensions.